Before we get started, I do have some PSAs, and I do want to try to get to know everybody in the audience a little bit. So let's do a standing poll. How many of you are in some form of a sales operations role? If so, stand. It's funny. How many hands were raised? Wow, look at that. Look around. There are a lot of people here you should meet as you're walking out the door. Carry them along with you to the keynote. One more. How many of you have 5 or more apps already installed in your Salesforce instance? Okay, there's some contrast, right? There are a heck of a lot of people standing. So I hope that what we're here to share with you today will be helpful and be encouraging and inspire you to take some action. One action not to take. Do not make stock purchasing decisions based on what you're here to, what you will hear today. But I do encourage you to make a lot of great app decisions. For those of you who don't know the AppExchange, just a quick bit of background. The AppExchange exists for you, our customers, so that you have a place to go to find apps that are built to integrate with Salesforce. It's actually a really amazing community and an opportunity for you to find apps that have been pre-vetted. They go through a pretty rigorous security process before they can even make it onto the AppExchange. They're reviewed by peers to the tune of 50,000 reviews. So that's a pretty stunning number of people like you who have experienced apps and have something to say about it. 2,800 apps and counting, and it's actually 3.2 million installs. They happen to the tune of several thousand a day. There are apps for every department. Who knew that there were HR apps on the AppExchange? If you did, raise your hand. All right, we're learning. Finance, HR, you name it, it's there. Even boutique apps for the beverage industry and hotel industry. Pretty amazing selection for you. We're here today to talk about sales, obviously. There are over 1,000 apps to help you extend all kinds of productivity into every stage of the sales cycle, and you'll hear a lot of that from our experts who are doing it day in and day out. And the real good news for those of you who like to take pictures of slides and copious notes, and who are, I bet, 9 out of 10 of you are going to be asking this question: how much does it cost? How much does that app cost? You can go to bit.ly/DF15 sales apps, and all of the apps that our fabulous customers are going to talk about today are in a collection for you. So you can answer those questions on the fly. Does anybody have app tile pins on their lanyard? App tile pins, anybody? We're having some fun with the fact that AppExchange Love is everywhere, so encourage you to collect some app tile pins when you visit the expo to meet the several hundred vendors who have joined us there to meet you. And we have fabulous App Maverick MVPs who are handing out gift cards and doing some fun giveaways. There might just be one in the room today. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Elizabeth, who I met like 4 weeks ago and fell in love with her story right away. Thanks, Elizabeth.
Hi, everybody. My name is Elizabeth Zadora. I'm a Win Customer Service Representative at Odyssey Logistics and Technology, but I moonlight as a Salesforce admin. I have used Salesforce for 4 years now, and all 4 years I've been an admin. And in Odyssey Logistics, we're kind of new to Salesforce. We're in our 2nd year of using it, and we have 52 members on our sales team, 100 Salesforce users, and our Salesforce team is across 20 different locations around the world. So as you can imagine, our needs are pretty individual for each type of Salesforce user. So let's get started on the apps that we use.
Tell us first about your quote here.
Oh, so with great responsibility comes with admin skills. So you have to know what you're looking for before you start making changes. Sandboxes are important. Don't make changes in your production org, and you have to listen to your users. You have the ability to install those apps, but you have to vet them first.
Great advice.
So So this is our app story here at Odyssey Logistics. We have ours kind of broken up into sales, admin, and marketing and data. So on the sales side, we're going to talk about DocuSign, Dupe Catcher, and the Power Dialer. But my other admin and I use Mass Update Wizard all the time. I use Grid Buddy for project management, and we also use Smartsheet for project management with our customer-facing stuff. And we also use Marketo, so we have Marketo Sales Insight is in there, and we use data.com all the time.
Fantastic.
Okay, so let's talk about Dupe Catcher. Dupe Catcher saves me all the time. It really does. We have 13 subsidiaries in our one Salesforce organization. Odyssey grows by acquisition, so with every acquisition comes a whole new database of customers. There can be duplicates, usually there are. So we lose some data sometimes. We have duplication problems. But using Dupe Catcher, we can stop those duplications in their tracks. We have our really strict policies on our duplicates, so our users can't convert leads into contacts and accounts without it being run through these filters. We also encourage our sales teams to communicate via chatter to talk about the shared customers that they may have. And our original data is maintained. We know the original lead source every time, and we know who the original salesperson was.
Raise your hand if you have trouble with duplicates in your org.
Isn't it the worst? I hate duplicates.
And they're actually talking to each other about shared accounts?
Yeah, it's really great. We really focus on using chatter for this, and it's really encouraging collaboration and cross-selling across our entire company.
Collaboration instead of competition around accounts?
Exactly.
Okay.
It's great for us.
All right.
So who has an inside sales team? Anybody? Yeah, so we have one too, and we are using Inside Sales Power Dialer. And before we brought that into the system, we had no visibility into our rep activity. Everybody was logging things individually, so some people, just like with salespeople, some people were logging really great notes and some people not so much. We also had some inefficient lead response because there was no standardization, and on my team, we were having issues getting back to people after trade shows because that's all a hard time. You come back to the officers, you have your own work built up, and you have to start calling back everybody else. So when we brought Power Dialer in, we created dashboards that are showing everybody's sales activity and their lead activity. We also saw a 150% increase in our inside sales activity, and everything was standardized. So we could really track our metrics on there. And we have a crazy fast response now to our trade show leads. We're getting through the list twice as fast as we were before. And it's really made a difference.
Does your leadership love that?
Oh, it's great. We have our weekly sales meetings where we go over this and we talk about how Power Dialer has really just changed our lead process and our follow-up.
Fantastic. One more to go.
DocuSign. So when my division works on is a digital service. So we have terms of service that have to be signed. So it's really, we're trying to sell this digital process. We don't want to have paper contracts because we want to start you with technical stuff right away. So, and we're also traveling all the time. We're at trade shows where, sales guys are on the road. So we use DocuSign to help maintain that. We're able to you do our redlining and our scanning and our emailing right through DocuSign instead of having PDFs going back and forth. And beforehand, our contracts weren't linked to our opportunities. So now with DocuSign, our sales don't stop when we're on the road. We built workflows in our system that kick off based on our DocuSigns coming in signed. So we get a trigger from DocuSign. It changes our opportunity to a closed one, sets off workflows that alert our executive level that we've signed a deal, we've closed a deal, and it sends our sales team and our onboarding team projects, and it sends our clients their onboarding process, their projects, and a credit app that's online and digital and comes back into Salesforce.
And all that happens with nobody really having to touch anything?
Nobody has to touch anything. It's all automated.
How many of you guys are using an app like this or have a business process that sounds familiar? Fantastic. I'd love to hear some more of those stories because what I love about what's happening here is we took an app, but we applied it to a business problem. And what kind of time savings are you talking about here?
Our terms of service get signed, and all of these things are done within 2 minutes. It's astounding how fast this is. Especially when we sign really big deals, everybody knows right away, and they come by our desk and like, great job, guys. Good work.
Recognition's also
exactly.
good, right?
Exactly, and it makes our sales team so happy that they're not spending time going into Salesforce and updating all of their closed-won opportunities because it's done for them.
All right, fantastic.
Thanks, guys.
We will do full Q&A at the end. I am hoping that we'll try to have at least 10 minutes, if not 15. So think about your questions. This is not just about apps, but the thinking behind how you approach a business problem with an app. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody.
This is the second time that I've shared the stage with Cambria, and just connecting dots. I actually met her at an InsideSales.com conference, and her story that day was all about Power Dialer. But I learned in the process of our discovery that she is one of those people who literally has that sandbox and goes and proactively finds ways to solve business problems, I think sometimes that people aren't even thinking about. So super excited to have Cambria share her story with you.
Hey everybody, hope everyone's having a good day so far. So I am Cambria. I work in sales ops. I've been working with Salesforce for about 4 years. I work for a company called Guidestar, and we've been in business for about 7 years. I started there when we were 40 employees, and we're about 300 now. So obviously a lot of these applications have really helped us scale. And I'm overseeing or helping oversee a team of 85 right now. So my tagline is sales ops is my name, efficiency is my game.
And a couple other things that I love about this story. What'd you do before you were in sales ops?
Before I was in sales ops, I was actually an inside sales rep. So I was cold calling, doing a lot of that stuff. So really the hat that I wore when I went into sales ops was trying to figure out ways to really actually make the sales team efficient. Being a salesperson, I knew where the holes were, so I had a really good vantage point when I did start into the operations world.
Does that sound like the career path of anybody else out there? One person raised her hand. 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, good stuff. The other thing that is really interesting here to me is that Guidestar had no market. They came in and have basically completely and totally created a market. So the way that they have to go to market is hard. Nobody's calling them. They have to call people.
Yeah, so like I was saying earlier, the Guidestar App Story is really, I like to use the power of the AppExchange to take our organization to the next level. Just being a company, when I stepped in, we were 40 to 60 people. We really needed to find applications that were going to take us to that next level. We had one office when I started in operations. Now we have 5 locations all across the country. So I had to figure out how do I get to those sales reps when they are in different locations. That transition from being a startup to being a slightly bigger company. You'll see a few of the applications here. Obviously, we use them in sales and marketing as well, but really a lot of the passionate ones that I have found, that middle column are actually mostly free. So I really try as a small company, of course, budget is something you want to think about. So I really try to find those free apps that are just going to help with some sort of scalability or maybe just to look at the data just slightly different. One example is the inline account hierarchy. Just leverages what's already in Salesforce, but gives it a nice, pretty little picture of it in the middle of your layout. So just kind of thinking about how your salespeople learn is really important when you're finding those free applications.
And free applications is a great place to start, right?
Yeah,
Graphics Pack is one of the ones that seems to be a starter app for everybody. All right. We're going to go to the extreme opposite end of the spectrum here.
So the first application that we have here is Aptus. We are a recent customer, so we signed on with them in the winter, and we deployed in the spring. So going well so far. Basically, Aptus is just a sophisticated contract and quote management tool. Our really main goal of it was to streamline things and also to take the quoting out of the wild, wild west. You guys probably can feel the same pain when your reps have the ability to change a Word document. You kind of cringe and hope for the best when it comes in signed. And some of the things that we've seen so far, just really fast approval turnaround, definitely twice as fast on the updates and the administration side of things, and really just great user adoption. The picture you see, it's a little bit small probably for people in the back, but one great use case that we used with Aptus is we rolled out some promotions because Q3 is our biggest revenue driving quarter, and I was able to deploy these promotions in the system with new term language in our contract and new approval process behind them within probably like 2 hours. So just to have that scalability in these promotions that, you know, the SVP puts on my desk that morning, it's really nice to be able to have that quick turnaround with these kind of specials that we have right now. Gainsight, also a new customer of, so we're really excited about this. For this one, we really wanted just to reduce our churn by identifying risk earlier. We also wanted to be better aware of the risks and the opportunities for our customers. So we are really early users of this. We just deployed it about a month ago. But I think the biggest thing is it's increased our efficiency, and it's really helped us become customer experts. I think a lot of times when you are a startup company and you're running as fast as possible, you don't take the time to really understand your customer, which in turn will help drive new business because you can understand who is meant for your service. So what we've been able to do here is be able to, like I said, identify risk, so make sure that that churn doesn't happen, but also more importantly, identify new opportunities, which I think is really great for driving that net new business.
That's pretty good stuff. How many of you are working in this arena, really applying apps or any kind of business process to proactively work on the sort of customer retention and growth side of things? Okay. It's funny when you see the half hand raise. Kind of.
All right, this last one is definitely my most passionate one. I think it's just because it's the most fun. So Cupola is a great tool that we just absolutely love at Guidestar. Like I was saying earlier, we're used to being all together in one sales pit and hanging out, and everyone knows who closes what, and it's really nice. But as soon as we scaled to other states and kind of to the East Coast, they're closing things a lot earlier. A lot of us are still sleeping. And then vice versa, they're eating dinner when we're closing deals late as well. So what's great about Cupola is it's really connected all of our offices. It's basically a gamification tool that we have deployed in TVs all across our offices. And what's been great about it is just the buzz that it's created. I think what happens with small companies is you're so used to sitting next to the people that you work closely with, and when they move, that buzz kind of dies. So what this has been able to do is really drive that buzz back up. We've also seen people really increase their achievement on the competitions that we'll run through the system. And the last thing is that they love the most is their walkout song. So every new hire gets to pick a walkout song, which they just get really a big kick out of. So even our inside sales teams will set goals for them, and they can reach certain goals, and their song will play. So it's not just revenue driving, it's also activity driven. And then when a deal closes, a big gong rings and their song plays as well. So people like to have a really good time with the song. There's some guys that play Taylor Swift, and it definitely gets really fun to see what people choose. So yeah.
Okay, great
That's it.
stuff. Thank you so much. So when I started in sales, when none of this stuff existed, my boss used to play a big, loud rock song and dance on the desk when a sale was won. I think this is as close as you can get to that. The interesting thing that we have here in our next set is evidence that the AppExchange brings you choice, because Cupola is a fabulous app, but it has some really great competition as well. There are a number of apps in the space, and I'm really excited to have Lena come up and start her story with Level 11. But before she does, tell us about yourself. She could actually train every one of us in the room, myself included.
Oh, I don't know about that.
It's true.
I'm Lena Hofer. I work for a company called Edmentum. Some of you may be more familiar with Plato Learning. That's who we used to be. So when it says we've been in business for 55 years, Edmentum has really only been the name of our company for the last 3 years. But we have a long legacy. We have about 600 employees and a sales team of about 175. I have been a Salesforce admin, though, for about 13 years. And I was just telling the gals here that I actually was at the very first Dreamforce when there were 500 of us in one hotel doing everything. And this is quite different now.
That's the truth, isn't it?
And I've been using AppExchange since the day that it came out.
Wow, which is soon to be a mere 10 years away. We're about to be on the 10th birthday.
Yeah, exciting.
What else do you have to claim to fame in the Salesforce ecosystem?
What are you getting at?
We're like a comedy act. Are you a Salesforce MVP?
I am a Salesforce MVP. So Becky mentioned earlier that there are some MVPs giving out $100 gift certificates for tile pins like this. If you have at least 5 of them, I may or may not have some gift certificates with me, so you might want to catch me as I fly out the door at the end of the session.
Tell us about that quote. What does it mean?
What's that quote mean? Well, you see up here that my favorite book is The Last Lecture by Randy Pesch. I don't know if, how many of you are familiar with that, but it is an awesome book. In fact, I just got goosebumps saying it.
Wow.
It is an incredible story of a professor who gave his last lecture when he found out that he had cancer. And I really am getting goosebumps.
Me too now.
But it's such an inspiring book, and one of the things that he stresses in there is you wake up each morning and you decide if you're going to be a Tigger or an Eeyore. And I woke up today decided to be a Tigger, so here I am.
I bet, because you have a really cool T-shirt on too.
I know, AppExchange.
Tell us about your app story.
Yeah, so believe it or not, this is not a full list of apps that we have at Admentum. We have so many apps that we couldn't fit them on one screen. So these are some of the favorite ones, the ones that we use a lot. As I said, I've been using the AppExchange since day one. I was fortunate that when I came into Admentum, they were already big believers in the AppExchange, and I've added more apps since I've been there. And it just, I gave a session yesterday on how to be a superhero admin, and one of the tips that I give is don't start from scratch. Go out to the AppExchange and look for things, because somebody, either a free app or a paid app, has thought of it already and can get you started on it. So, yeah.
All right. And as I said,
we're... Level 11 story. So Level 11 is another choice. It's very similar to Hoopla in that it's a gamification tool. It's one that we really love and embrace because we have 2 main offices. We have one in Bloomington, Minnesota, and one in Richardson, Texas. And that's where our inside sales teams reside. And then we have field sales all over the country. And this really gave us a way to have that excitement when we do a contest. Instead of having a whiteboard and sticky notes and a bell ringing in the office when somebody made a sale, we could now have something that, you know, I'm in Richardson and I close a deal or I do an activity or whatever we've set the goal to be. This on the screens, the glass breaks, my chatter picture comes up, and those people in Minneapolis can celebrate and see right then that it's happening. And the cool thing is it's all based on data that's in your Salesforce environment. So it doesn't have to be on closed deals. It can be on, you know, number of phone calls you've made or any activity actually. I actually am setting one up for my team of sales admins on how many tickets they've closed in the day. So it can be on any activity driven through Salesforce. And the one really cool thing that they have, and I think Hoopla has it too, you kind of alluded to it, Cambria, is the scorecard functionality. I don't know if they call it that. But what that is you can set, as a user of the tool, you can set your own goals, your daily goals. I want to do, you know, X amount of calls or whatever the goal is, and track it just kind of like a Fitbit. It's kind of like Fitbit for sales. And so it keeps the motivation going between the contests.
That's one of the coolest use cases that I hear frequently is that it's really as much, as you said, about provoking the right activity through the cycle as opposed to just waiting for that celebration at the end.
Right. Knowledge Now. So this is a great program that we've been using for about a year, and it's really kind of transformed the way that we're doing training here at Admentum. We had one trainer that every time a new hire would come on, she would set up a one-on-one session, and many of the times it was not in person. It was over the phone, doing a webinar, that kind of thing. And come to find out, a lot of times they're in their cars driving, listening, instead of sitting in front of a computer. So not real effective. And she was training people like every other week, setting up these sessions and doing trainings. And just not the best way to train people. Another issue that we have, because we have so many people that are out in the field and maybe even working from home offices, they never got to see leadership. They never got to see the faces of the people that they were getting emails from and that kind of thing. With Knowledge Now, what we've done is we've created videos, and we create them ourselves. So the picture you see up on the screen is actually somebody that works for me who has done this little video that says, hey, welcome to Edmentum. For more information on your first week here at Edmentum, click the menu below, and then when they click the menu below, collateral pops up. So there's little links to PDFs and to other videos that are longer that they can watch, that kind of thing. So we've got a whole training course set up using Knowledge Now. And the really cool thing is that this person's on the home page, so they see that list of videos. If they're on an account page, they would see a list of videos that are specific to the account, on the opportunity specific to the opportunity. And if you're an inside sales rep and I'm an outside sales rep, we may see a completely different set of videos. So it's really been great for that. The really, really cool thing that I like, though, is that for those remote employees that don't get to see the leadership or know what anybody that they work with looks like, we have an opportunity here where we have, like, our CEO gives a quarterly video that he pops up on their screen. Just when they log into Salesforce, we have it auto pop up. We're careful about how many we do that because sometimes people freak out and go,
They get tired
what's the
of
CEO doing on my screen?
I kind of love that.
This
I
is
mean,
my last day.
do any of you have your CEO popping out of your org to greet your salespeople?
Really cool.
Does anybody like the idea of that? I mean, the idea of having that right there in your face training is really good stuff. I obviously see a lot of apps, but when Lena started to tell me this story, I got goosebumps. It's like, this is really powerful.
It is very powerful, and they've got great customer support. So when you're up and getting started, great, great, great.
That's about as good a kudos as you can give any organization, right?
Yes. Level 11 actually has great customer support, and so does MapAnything. So maybe that's why they're all my favorite apps.
Could be. Should be.
Okay, MapAnything. So this has been probably one of the best sales tools that we have incorporated at Edmentum because it gives our field people the ability to map out their routes and get the best route possible. All the little colors that you see on the screen, those represent different types of accounts. So we have prospects, we have renewal customers. If they're primarily going out to visit a prospect and they map that route out, and let's say they go out to that prospect and they cancel on them for one reason or another. Prospects do that sometimes.
No.
They can quickly log into MapAnything and just bring up a map of where are my renewal customers that are close by. I can just stop in and have a nice, friendly customer visit with them. So this has really, really helped them. And the other thing is it has a check-in and an activity logger with it. So we were having a lot of the field reps were complaining that, I work all day long, I'm out in my car, I'm driving around seeing these people. Then I come home and I have to spend 3 hours updating Salesforce with all my activity that I've done.
Does anybody have problems with that?
Yeah.
Really? I thought that I would see a whole bunch of hands raised there. You don't have problems with your reps logging activities in the field?
I see some.
Anybody want to stand up and cry?
Do you have tissues?
All right.
Yeah, but this gives them the ability to just do it on the fly from their phones, and it's been a time saver, and I get compliments every day from the field saying, "Wow, we're so happy we have this."
I bet. Okay, Lena, stay here. True to our promise and our sales ops profession, we are exactly on time at 30 minutes in. So the next 10 minutes is yours. I believe we have some mics in the room to pass around. There's also one in the center. Anybody who has a burning need to go get in the keynote line, please feel free to take this moment to do so. Those of you who are looking for answers, I can think of nobody better of all the customers that I interact with to help with just about anything you might have on the mind, so please let us know. And Cambria and Elizabeth, come on up. We'll move our seats forward so you guys can be comfortable if you want.
I think I'd have as much trouble getting up there as I would.
It's up to you.
Standing's good.
All right. Perfect, thank you.
Task management, project management, simple apps that integrate with Salesforce. Any of you have any that you recommend?
You you should come to a session this afternoon called AppExchange for Sales Ops, or for Admins, at 4 o'clock. We are going over a couple of different apps that do just that. I'll just mention TaskRay is one of them. Also, a free solution off the AppExchange that I use is Milestones PM. That one's been
Emphatic head shaking.
Yeah, isn't it great to just customize it down to when you need it? And, yeah, it's amazing. Yeah,
Cambria,
so there's lots of good ones out there.
Do you have anything to add to that? I can't remember.
Yep.
All right, awesome. There's a hand in the back, middle of the room.
This is for you guys that are using the Power Dialer. I've actually been using that for the last year. Pretty mixed results, honestly. And that's kind of kindly. I'm being a tigger on that one at this point. A lot of technical issues with regards to seek lists, building them, the formula, the fields that I do. Are you guys having the same kind of problems?
Yes.
Yeah.
We actually spoke with our reps about that yesterday.
Yeah, I've got a couple of cases on that.
I am happy to sit with you after and talk to you about it, and kind of talk about the solutions that we've come up with in the meantime, and maybe we can find some solutions together.
One of the actual question, though, that I had was surrounding governance of using the app of Power Dialer. We have an inside sales that are all remote, basically, and they're used to using, they like the list views, they like to be able to cherry pick and go in and see, dial the ones that they want. And the whole point of the Power Dialer is to give them and present them with the leads that we want them to dial. Any advice on governance? Because I have no idea who's using what list, when, where, how, and all that.
Yeah, so I can only speak on our experience, and you use Power Dialer too, but our inside sales team is all in one location, and when that came in, it was told to them how it was going to be used. They were going from no tool to this tool, so they were just excited to have this option available to them. Our managers in that inside sales team are really interactive with our people, and they work with them to come up with their lists. And they do some of their own lists too, Sarah, right? My other admins here in the crowd, right? They do some of their own lists. Yes, they are allowed to build their own. Yeah, so they're allowed to build their own lists too, but the newer reps have lists built for them also.
Yeah, I'll just comment. We have had similar kind of bug issues, but one thing that we really try to do is create lists that we want them to use, and they're usable across everybody, so they don't have to actually change them for themselves, which is, you give them the tool and put it in their lap, then they'll typically use it because it's easier. And then another thing is that we would run some contests around it, so a lot of times we have meetings, and you tag whatever list you use to book that meeting. And then you can create contests that way. So by really just trying to motivate them, give them a gift card if they're getting meetings through a certain list, especially if it's a list that you're passionate about them using.
When I've heard, just really quickly, people talk about this situation over time, it tends to be the reports and dashboards and making those incredibly visible that brings out the competitive tiger and salespeople, and they want to be at the top of that list. So what that we've all talked about in different forms is making it visible makes a huge difference. All right, who's next? Oh, look at that.
I have a question on MapAnything. Have you used that for territory alignment, uploading zip codes, postal codes, anything like that?
Yes, we have, yeah. At the beginning of our fiscal year ends October 31st, and so we're going through that right now, where we're looking at using that tool to help us map out the territories for next year. Yeah.
A few of you mentioned the Graphics Plus or Graphics apps. Can you maybe elaborate on those and how you're using them?
Are any of you guys using it? That was me.
I am using it.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, so we have, our sales team is incredibly visual. In hopes of driving their best practices, we use the graphics packs to put image fields on, like opportunities. We have arrows, up, down arrows. Renewals are huge for us. So we want to make sure that they're always renewing at least what they were last year or above that. So we use the graphic pack to do the arrows and that kind of thing. We just use it for a lot of different image fields, and that's where I use it. It's free. So. Yep.
The art of visual communication. We do that at home with my 4- and 6-year-olds a lot. Make it easy, right?
Do they have Salesforce?
They're building apps. Lightning, of course.
Awesome.
Anybody else?
Just a quick one on the MapAnything. Is that just for the US or is that a global tool?
We are strictly a U.S. Company, so I only know of it for the U.S., but
Right.
I don't know if they have global.
And for the US, does it update the zip codes every time they come out, or is it?
It goes on the data that you have in Salesforce.
Right.
So it doesn't update it. You enter the data, and then it finds the latitude and longitude based on the address that you have.
Gotcha. All right.
Have you looked at apps to try to solve that problem yet?
Various.
Okay. Oh, right behind you.
Yeah, I had another quick one. Do you know any apps that do automated lead conversion to contacts when they come in, or being able to customize that?
Yeah, so we, one that we use is Lean Data. They do what you're asking for, and they'll also do it based on who owns the account. So a lot of times it's really nice if you're more of an account-based marketing organization. Lean Data is a great company to talk to. And then I also used a smaller app that's a little less expensive, and it's called ConvertRx Pro. And I use that one a lot to do kind of mass conversions. That way, what we did as an organization, which will sound horrible, is we took our 300,000 leads and converted them to contacts because we wanted to go to account-based marketing. Yeah, and so it was quite a headache to go through, but really has benefited the organization a lot because there's just so much more transparency on the account level. And we use ConvertRx Pro, which it costs little to nothing. So.
All right.
It's called Lean Data. Yeah.
We have time for one last super quick question if anybody has one burning in their minds. All right, fabulous. I have one. Did you learn something today? If yes, raise your hand. All right. Please take the survey in the app, the Dreamforce app. The minute you walk out the door, you'll see a little alert in your Dreamforce app. The feedback helps us a lot, so thank you very much.
I have one question before people leave. Does anybody have 5 or more app tiles on their thing right now? It's worth $100 if you do. Okay, go get some. I'm challenging you. Go get some and then find me.
There's an action for you. Go visit the expo. Bye, everybody. Thanks so much. And thanks so much to our fabulous customers.